Morning everybody, how are you? Beautiful morning. God, it's 7:30 in the morning. On a Sunday, that's beautiful. Look at this. Look at that. That's awesome, eh? Hopefully somebody's up. Hello, is there anybody out there? Or are we all just still in our bed? Just a wee proviso here. I have no desire to reinvent the wheel here. So what I'm doing to you every day, or doing for you every day, is just passing on information that I've read already, and probably just putting my own perception on it, and how it is for me, and giving you some examples. So the information I'm sharing with you is just passed down from generations of people, more highly successful than me. So you're learning from people. You know, success leaves clues. That's really what it comes down to. And one of the guys I've actually been reading his books and vlogs online is Henry Gentile. And this is 20 Essential Habits of Highly Passionate People. So this is part one, because I really don't want to bore everybody to tears every day and going on forever. Let's just take about 4 sound bites, 4 bits at a time. So it'll probably be a 5-part episode. Morning Jordan, how are you? So highly passionate people aren't just lucky. They share common characteristics. They work hard, they trust their intuition, and they persevere. We've spoken about this already in previous episodes of Millionaire Mindset. Nothing special is required, really. You don't have to be gifted. You don't need permission. You can follow what makes you come to life. The only thing holding you back are the stories you've learned about this path. Morning, Alana. And what I mean is the stories you've learned. It's the social conditioning you've had since birth. It's people telling you that you can only get to a certain level, you can only do certain things, and that's no for the likes of you. Well, I'm here to tell you it is. You've just got to accept that for yourself. So let's look at the key habits of highly passionate people. Well, the first one's excitement. Maybe I'll have that. Maybe a bit too much sometimes, hyper. Passionate people follow what makes them come to life. I was never familiar with the terms like follow your passion, listen to your heart, and trust your intuition. As the years passed though, I began to realise that having a why built excitement as you were working towards a goal. I'm drawn by the invisible force to explore certain paths as a result of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have doubts, I have fears just like anyone else. However, I've learned just to take one step at a time and be guided by my intuition. I mean, that's effectively your sixth sense. I've learned over the years, you know this gut feeling that you get about someone. When you first meet them for the first time, you think, just not quite right, or they're fantastic. Nobody else gets it sometimes, but you have it. Learn to trust that feeling. I've ignored it for years and years and years, deliberately, saying, no, what they're saying is more important than what I feel. But every single time, it's come back to me to say that you should have trusted your gut. We've been taught to listen to logic. Oh, that's my thing. I'm an accountant by trade. Why would I not be logical about things? Don't get me wrong, logic has its place, and you cannot live without it in your life. It will literally make you miserable if you do, because it focuses on so much of the how. If you don't have the why, you'll never do the how. Because if you only learn the how to do something, when it becomes difficult, you don't know why you're doing it anymore. You don't know why you're doing it anymore. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Courage. Passionate people know that following your passion isn't without its challenges. Courage is required, really, to walk this path. You don't wait for courage. It's built up through facing your fears. My God, facing my fears. Oh, didn't tell me I've got to do this. Yeah, you have to. You have to just go out there and do it. Follow your passion requires work, but the good news is that it's enjoyable work for most of the part of it. I mean, when I left school, well, I was asked to leave school, but that's another story. I did tell that before. I had no idea what I was going to do. I just fell into a job, into my dad's business. And it was only a few years later, when I met my wife, that it drove me to get out of my comfort zone. This required courage and became my point of readiness. I was ready to learn. Morning, Louise. Yeah, I mean, that's quite important. There is a point of readiness, and I talk about that with the young children and the youths of today. I mean, there is a point of readiness. Just because it doesn't happen for you at school, it doesn't mean to say it won't happen for you later on. But there's also many of us that talk about, you know, well, if you don't get it at school, then you've got no chance. That's no true. I'm living proof of that. Asked to leave school. Went to college later on. 3-time student of the year. Went on to win, you know, numerous awards later on for what I did. And excel in the fields that I was in. So, you know, it's not all about school sometimes. There is a point of readiness where you're willing to learn. I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I had to start somewhere, and I had the faith that I'd find this along the way. So I just kept going. Life really knows where I need to be. I just have to have the courage to say yes. So this is the next one, determination. If there's anything I've learned, it's the results rarely come fast. Follow your passion doesn't just happen. People tell me that I'm lucky. Well, we all know what luck means for. Labour under correct knowledge. And I seem to get good at everything that they say. I'm not lucky, I'm just determined. It's pretty easy to get good at something you love and you're passionate about. Don't get me wrong, I don't always know if I'm on the right track. I simply follow my passion and I leave it at that and minimise the downside, and if I make a mistake, then so be it. That's all I can do. Now remember, I'm not always 100% determined. Even that's okay. Determination simply means a refocus on taking baby steps toward what matters and to what I want to work towards. There are no permanent failures out there. Life is either a lesson or a blessing and an opportunity to learn. I mean, look at this. I'm now on day 75 of vlogging every single morning at 7:30. And to be honest, some mornings I lie in my bed and I think, God, did I really want to get up? But I have purpose. I have determination. I have passion. I know where I want to go. And I know where this wants to lead me. And it allows me to hone my skills. One of the skills that's most important for me just now is I need to know that I'm going to impart information to the youth of today when I'm asked to go into the schools and become a mentor. So I've been invited to do that. So I better make damn sure I know what I'm talking about or how to deliver it in a nice way. And at the end, you know, when it comes to it, if nothing else, you've done something that you enjoy. And this takes me on to positivity. I have bad days like anyone else. You just don't see them on camera. But I keep following my intuition. But there's a fine line between being blissfully ignorant and positively realistic. It's something that you have to discover for yourself. Try both and find your own balance. Being positive means being optimistic about following your dreams. You don't need permission to say yes to your dreams. You don't need validation from anyone else. You simply need to focus on what you can do with what you have. You start where you are and you let life nudge you forward. That's positivity. And if you want, just give this a wee share. I'll tell you a wee bit of information why I ask people to share this. You never know who's going to hear this and who's going to be helped by this. I had a guy in a very successful career contact me. I have no idea who this person is. And this was shared by someone else on this page. So thank you for sharing this, because this is what you did. And then it's shared to one of their friends, who then shared it with this person who is in a high profile job. And it was the clinical depression one that I did. They were in floods of tears when they heard what I said. Now, this wasn't me, this was someone else I was imparting this information from, you know. But they came to me and they said, I can't believe that's me. But the problem is, I can't say anything at all. Because if I go and say anything to anyone, it has to be reported to the seniors in my profession. Now, he's a senior already, very high profile. And if anybody finds out, I'll lose my job. My first advice was data protection. You're fine. Don't worry. Speak to people that you trust. Go to your doctor and speak to them. It's important, and that's the reason why. You may not think someone else might appreciate this, but they might think someone else might appreciate this, and you don't know whose other life you'll touch as a result of doing what you do. So please take time to share this. You never know who it will help today. And I'll see you for part 2 tomorrow, where we can talk more about the essential habits of highly successful people. Have a brilliant day, folks.